To someone who's thinking about moving to Finland, I'll just say why not? If you're young, it's the perfect time to be experiencing a different life overseas, meeting new people, making new memories. I've learned a lot from living in Finland. Maybe you will too.
This is Han. This is all of us. Born in the same hospitals as everyone else, Han opens Han's eyes for the first time. After being weighed and measured, Han is sent out into the world. As a child, Han is free to explore nature and wander the city safely. A long childhood continues through school, which Han attends with peers from all walks of life. And Han doesn't have to come from a wealthy or highly educated family to find opportunities to go further. Through changes, big and small, the ground has been laid for Han to go as far as Han wants. But being ambitious doesn't mean Han can't take time off to nurture family life. Han knows that a good balance in work and life leads to success in both. And every now and then, Han needs the time and space to just breathe. And although Han doesn't live in a perfect society, Han knows that things have been fixed before. You, me, him, her, Han. The inclusive Finnish pronoun that stands for equal opportunity.
The most important tag word that attracted me was happiest country in the world. I have to see this for myself in person. How is this possible for any country to be so happy?
The best thing about Finnish education is that universities trying to kind of combine the theoretical approach and the practical approach. So you kind of have this balance of theory and also practice. We're going to have a certain amount of time when we're just going to be working mostly. Our teachers even tried to stimulate us to find a job even during our studies, and I feel like that this is great because in my home country, everyone is mostly focused on just theory, and people just end up graduating from the university without any practical knowledge, and it doesn't work in life like this.
So one of the main reasons why I chose to study in Finland was because of the affordability. I actually got like 100% scholarship while coming to study here. And so that was one of the main attractions for me. I want to say there's a low hierarchy, but I think the best way to put it is there's no hierarchy at all, because it is so easy to walk up to your professor, have a chat with him, ask questions where you don't understand, and they are forever ready to help. Another reason I chose Finland was because of how big Finland is on equality, diversity, as well as sustainability. I think the country does a good job in empowering its women, as well as the men, obviously.
I feel like I have a lot of flexibility, and I have a feeling of my own identity, my own self, of what I'm building here as my own study profile. Then I feel like I will be more ready for the society out there, because nobody here is just out for degrees. We're out there for finding our place in the world where we can do a job, where we find people interested in our skill set. So if that skill set is the same basic rigid program that every other person who's doing the degree has, then I don't feel like I have a role here. I feel like I am playing a role here. So that's what attracted me to Finland, because I felt like I could make myself, like build a person.
The quality of education in Finland is really good. You get to practice what you've learned theoretically. You get to practice it as exactly as it is, with the most recent technologies as you will find outside. And then you have lots of assignments. I mean, it's really good when we have assignments. It might be tiring, but then you get to learn more when you discover some things yourself.
There's not really that pressure of like grades, so you can focus more on where things are going right, where they are going wrong, on your process of learning, exactly, not just in the end of what you got. So you're not really memorizing stuff to do it in an exam and forget about it later. You're in a process that you're gonna remember. We also get to do a lot of collaborative work. I feel like there's kind of a paradox, because when you get to working life, people want you to know how to collaborate. But a lot of places where you study at don't actually encourage you to do that. You take your own exams, you do your own papers, your own essays, and here like you get to do a project for a semester or for half of a semester with different people. So you actually train that and develop that skill before you get to a working place. Don't be afraid of experiencing new things. I know a lot of people say that like, oh, Finland is too cold, Finland is too dark, it's too different, it's too far away in some cases, but it's a really, really unique experience that you probably wouldn't get anywhere else. And these experiences are like what you're gonna take with you for the rest of your life, and you're never gonna forget.
The most important tag word that attracted me was happiest country in the world. I have to see this for myself in person. How is this possible for any country to be so happy?
The best thing about Finnish education is that universities trying to kind of combine the theoretical approach and the practical approach. So you kind of have this balance of theory and also practice. We're going to have a certain amount of time when we're just going to be working mostly. Our teachers even tried to stimulate us to find a job even during our studies, and I feel like that this is great because in my home country everyone is mostly focused on just theory, and people just end up graduating from the university without any practical knowledge, and it doesn't work in life like this.
So one of the main reasons why I chose to study in Finland was because of the affordability. I actually got 100% scholarship while coming to study here, and so that was one of the main attractions for me. I want to say there's a low hierarchy, but I think the best way to put it is there's no hierarchy at all, because it is so easy to walk up to your professor, have a chat with him, ask questions where you don't understand, and they are forever ready to help. Another reason I chose Finland was because of how big Finland is on equality, diversity, as well as sustainability. I think the country does a good job in empowering its women, as well as the men, obviously.
I feel like I have a lot of flexibility, and I have a feeling of my own identity, my own self, of what I'm building here as my own study profile. Then I feel like I will be more ready for the society out there, because nobody here is just out for degrees. We're out there for finding our place in the world where we can do a job, where we find people interested in our skill set. So if that skill set is the same basic rigid program that every other person who's doing the degree has, then I don't feel like I have a role here. I feel like I am playing a role here. So that's what attracted me to Finland, because I felt like I could make myself, build a person.
The quality of education in Finland is really good. You get to practice what you've learned theoretically. You get to practice it as exactly as it is, with the most recent technologies as you will find outside. And then you have lots of assignments. I mean, it's really good when we have assignments. It might be tiring, but then you get to learn more when you discover some things yourself.
There's not really that pressure of grades, so you can focus more on where things are going right, where they are going wrong, on your process of learning, exactly, not just in the end of what you got. So you're not really memorizing stuff to do it in an exam and forget about it later. You're in a process that you're gonna remember. We also get to do a lot of collaborative work. I feel like there's kind of a paradox, because when you get to working life, people want you to know how to collaborate. But a lot of places where you study at don't actually encourage you to do that. You take your own exams, you do your own papers, your own essays, and here you get to do a project for a semester or for half of a semester with different people. So you actually train that and develop that skill before you get to a working place. Don't be afraid of experiencing new things. I know a lot of people say that oh, Finland is too cold, Finland is too dark, it's too different, it's too far away in some cases, but it's a really, really unique experience that you probably wouldn't get anywhere else. And these experiences are what you're gonna take with you for the rest of your life, and you're never gonna forget.
Are you gonna be cutting? You'll do jump cuts and stuff.
As you might already know, Finland often ranks among the leaders in various international comparisons. We're even nominated as the happiest country in the world, which surprised everyone, including us. And that's more or less how it is in real life too. We actually have things pretty well up here, which is why we're considered as the best country in the world for expats. One of the things we're most proud of is equality. That gives all of us premises to make most of our careers.
To be honest with you, Being a female and an expat here in Finland, I've never really thought about my gender, my nationality, or my cultural background when I've applied to jobs or have gotten jobs in the tech industry.
Employer-friendly working hours leave plenty of time for family, friends and hobbies, something we Finns value a lot. Having the work-life in balance is also the best way to get new ideas. Accompanied with the famously low hierarchy at workplaces, which encourages people to express themselves and bring their own ideas forward, it's hardly a surprise that Finland is ranked as one of the top countries in the world when it comes to innovation.
It's not about the innovation itself, but it's more about the conditions are there to make sure that innovation happens.
Finland is a frontrunner in ICT and digitalization. Technologies and know-how are enabled by active collaboration between companies, universities and research institutions. Combined with a famously vibrant startup scene, we've become the parents for various global mass, IoT and AI solutions. Gaming, software development and cybersecurity are also fields that thrive in Finland, attracting talent around the globe.
I think society in Finland is both pro-technology and pro-innovation. There's been a lot of innovative technological advancements that have started here, from moving people all around to connecting people. So definitely it should lure tech enthusiasts to this region.
As we Finns really appreciate our nature, it has been clear that we should also strive towards a more sustainable world. We're already a leading country combating climate change, and our aim is to become carbon neutral by 2035. This creates opportunities in biotech, clean tech, circular economy, energy sector, and in smarter, more sustainable manufacturing in general.
If you have something to offer, if there's something that you're passionate about, the career opportunities are there.
We're smart, sustainable, and safe. A technology superpower that's always looking for aspiring superheroes to join us.
People are increasingly interested in a sustainable way of living. We need safe and renewable solutions to keep our precious planet going. And we need creative ways to use and recycle materials so that nothing goes to waste. Finland is a bioeconomy superpower with rich natural resources and a world-class innovation environment. We are the #1 forested country in Europe, with over 75% of our land area covered with forests. Our long tradition in the forest industry has made us global experts, with unique skills in research, innovation and development. The potential of bio-based products is enormous. By redefining wood to replace plastic and to create sustainable fibres, the turnover of the forest industry can be doubled. In Finland, bio-based products are already in everyday use.
It's possible to organize your travel either by car or by air so that it is running on advanced biofuels. It's also possible to utilize packaging solutions that are fiber-based, and you can even think that you can eat nutrition and enjoy health products that are made out of biomass.
One of the pioneering Finnish companies in bio-based products is Paptic. They seek to replace plastic packaging with biodegradable materials made out of high-quality wood fiber.
Today, global oceans are full of plastic waste. We want to provide the first real solution to single-use plastics by replacing them with wood-based materials.
So, why Finland? Finland is a leading country in creating sustainable bio-based solutions for today's world. We have the best experts, the technologies, and the innovation environment to respond to global challenges. We believe in world-changing ideas and turning them into global success stories. Finland works for us. Now let it work for you. Business Finland. World ideas.
I've been living in Finland for 3 years now, and right now I work at a tech startup as a product marketing manager. I first moved to Finland to do my master's studies, and then after that stayed on to work. I was in a fairly junior position, but I think in Finnish companies there isn't as much of a sense of hierarchy. So despite being a junior, I always felt like my voice was sort of cared about, respected. People didn't think of my opinion as any less valuable. It's really easy to balance free time and work here. I have my work time, and then after that, I'm basically free to do anything. Like all kinds of fun activities, often for free as well. The city is super vibrant. There's like lots of parks in the middle. You get to go island hopping, have picnics with your friends. It's just, you never run out of things to do. To someone who's thinking about moving to Finland, I'll just say why not? If you're young, it's the perfect time to be experiencing a different life overseas, meeting new people, making new memories. I've learned a lot from living in Finland. Maybe you will too.
Wow. You know, lately I've been thinking, Tariq, what does it mean to be fearless?
How about a story?
Tell me.
You know, it all started in 2014. We dug ourselves a hole. Do you remember that hole?
Which hole?
The hole in the frozen lake water in the beautiful Finnish forest.
Yeah.
And we looked at it, it was cold, and we decided to just jump in. And it was, we got soaked, man. We got out of it, and we started running as fast as we can for our lives to the sauna to get warm. And I realized
what it means to be fearless?
Not exactly. I realized that cold water will always be cold. Because we did that for 8 years straight, and nothing changed. But what we did understand is that it is how you look at it. Are you going to jump in fearlessly and embrace it? Or are you going to shy away from an opportunity to grow?
That's deep, you know, it makes me think. And I'm remembering actually another story of what happened in 2008 when a group of Finnish entrepreneurs, they got together and they decided to
jump into the cold water.
No. I mean, close enough. They jumped into SLUSH head first. They actually went around and got entrepreneurs and people from all around the world into a place, into Finland, and they created this event, and they aimed it to be the greatest startup community that brings the founders of startups and investors together. Imagine.
I see. That is a fearless mindset, actually.
I agree, man.
So turning the environment and using the best out of it. It's all in here.
Yeah.
You know, funny enough, I did not know his story about SLUSH. And I did not know that this event today, that is one of the world-leading events in the world, where right now, as we speak, we are in SLUSH, and there's tens and thousands of people who are getting together. We're talking about entrepreneurs, we're talking about investors from all around the world, making magic happen.
Oh my God, speaking about magic, let me tell you a little bit of Finnish magic. Have you played Clash of Clans?
All the time.
It's a Finnish company. It's Supercell. As a matter of fact, the CEO just passed up. And Behruz was telling me, oh my God, that's the CEO of Supercell. And Angry Birds, for example.
Yes, super angry.
It's another Finnish company. And let me tell you, like some high-tech companies, like Facebook, like all these things that you have used, YouTube, PayPal, Netflix, you know who takes care of their high-tech open database sourcing?
Who?
It's another Finnish company. It's MySQL. And you know what the crazy thing is? They all started in Finland with just an idea.
What about our idea, man?
Our idea, our company?
Yeah, tell them.
Science Pictures?
Yes.
I'm very sorry I didn't list it with the big shots, but yes, it also started with an idea. And I remember it was actually on this another dark, slushy November back in 2019, and we were coming back from Helsinki to Turku, and it was on the top deck of this red double-decker bus, and it was at that moment that we thought, you remember that moment?
I did remember that moment. Actually, we thought maybe it's time to follow our passion. Maybe it's time to metaphorically jump into the frozen lake and start our own initiative to actually start a pitching school for scientists and
now,
help them become entrepreneurs.
Look at it now. 3 years later.
Hold on. Okay. You know what? Let's keep the story for later. But for now, let's actually focus on what is going on here. This is not just about entrepreneurs plowing the snow, but actually it's about the entire nation. Because in Finland, you have an entire country behind your back building ecosystems for you. And as a matter of fact, do you know that recently, well, a few years already have gone by, but there is a specific startup permit that is facilitating entrepreneurs from all around the world to come here to Finland.
And I would like to also add that in 2020, according to the Startup Ecosystem Report, the global one, Finland, or Helsinki, the Greater Helsinki, was ranked as the #4 best startup ecosystem in the world among like 100 other cities. So imagine that.
I think that makes a lot of sense because we are here in the economic region and we're talking about Europe. This is actually a springboard for entrepreneurs and companies to be in the European Union, but also to jump on to the world. As a matter of fact, did you know that we have also very good connections to Asia? And speaking of that, this brings us to the episode of today. My name is Tariq Omran, and this is my business partner, best friend, and co-host for the day, Khalil Shahramian. And together we would like to host this third episode where we will be talking about fearlessness. We are going to see how entrepreneurship is actually making a global dent in our world. And we have a very exciting day. We have panelists here up front. We have keynote speakers. We're going to be looking at award-winning CEOs. We have students that are actually also plowing the way with us. And of course, our panel is going to be quite engaging, so you have time to ask questions.
I agree.
Is there anything you would like to add before we start?
I think I'm good. Actually, yes. The most important piece of information in Finland before starting any day, and that is, any guesses? The weather forecast, guys. You always check the weather forecast before you leave the house. And today, the weather forecast for Helsinki is, any ideas? It's networking. Networking. So when this event is over, we would stay in the room, we would network, we would talk, we'll get to know each other. And for those who are online, there are virtual booths that you can actually visit. And you'll have people from Finnish universities, from work in Finland, from business Finland, and they'll be answering all the questions that you might have in your mind. So the day would not just end after an hour. And without further ado, we can move on to our first keynote speech of the day, Suvi Haimi. And she'd be talking to us about how we can save the world or make it a better place. Wait.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here today with you. I hope you will have an exciting discussions after this one with all the entrepreneurs and with the networking mindset, what we just heard. But I'm here today to tell my story. And if we start from my background, I'm a biochemist. And I have also a high interest in biomaterials, have done my PhD and 10 years academic career with biomaterials. But how Sulapak journey started was that I was able to convince Laura Tirkkonen-Rajasalo and Antti Pärssinen, our co-founders, to come along with my crazy journey. What united us was the same mission. We all have very similar backgrounds in biochemistry and chemistry. And we all wanted to utilize our biomaterial expertise to really solve something which is close to our hearts, which is the global plastic waste problem. But let's look a bit deeper the global challenges linked to the global plastic waste problem at more detailed level. So climate change, we all know what it's about. But what is not so much given emphasis is the fact that oil-based plastic production is estimated to increase 4 times bigger by 2050. And if our planet temperature rises more than 3 degrees, it means an ecosystem crash. And the oil-based plastic production is very key link to this climate change. Why is this happening, although everybody's talking about recycling of plastics? Well, one key point what I want to give you about plastic recycling is that it can be actually efficiently done only once, and always virgin oil is needed to make recycled plastic products. And if we look even deeper to the infrastructure in Europe, we have here in Europe the most sophisticated infrastructure to recycle plastics. And today only 15% of plastics are being recycled. Everything else ends up burned or accidentally into nature. Then if we zoom into the microscopic level of this global plastic waste challenge and talk about microplastics, it goes even worse, because every week we eat 1 credit card of microplastics. These microplastics, what are out there, they cannot be collected like we can collect actually the plastic waste from the nature. So every piece of plastic waste into nature further accumulates these microplastics. And these microplastics, together with chemical load, They are linked to a variety of autoimmune diseases, cancer, reduction in fertility, many things. We just start actually understanding the great challenge, what it has to human health. And what it does in the early part of the food chain. If we talk about plankton, there has been studies that plankton starves because of the microplastics and chemical load. So this cannot be continued. To solve this, we have created in Sulapac this material, what combines sustainability, functionality, and beauty. And we have created this Sulapac material so that it solves almost all the plastic challenges, meaning the fossil dependencies and the plastic waste problem. But how to do it is actually to make the material from plant-based biopolymers and combine it with waste materials, like industrial side stream wood. We are able to use a variety of waste. We don't need to cut any trees to make our material. And our future, how we vision it, is that we don't need to use any plants in the future. We can just use our own waste. For instance, biochar or biocarbon made from our own waste. How we are then different to materials, bioplastics, which have been already there in the market the last 20 years. If we take, for instance, PLA, polylactic acid, which is both bio-based and biodegradable, there are a few challenges with that material. So, for instance, if it ends up in the nature, if we make a bottle out of polylactic acid and it ends up in the nature, it takes up to 30 years before it starts to biodegrade. That's too long. It's caused a littering problem. Our philosophy in Sulapac is to really mimic nature's own materials, like tree leaves or a piece of wood. So, for instance, this jar, if this ends up in the ocean, it biodegrades faster than a piece of wood the same size. So our straws, they biodegrade faster than oak leaves in the same condition. Also, mimicking nature means that we need to make sure that we don't add any harmful chemicals or toxic load to the nature if our materials accidentally end up there. That is a key differentiating factor, our material, compared to many other sustainable materials, and especially the traditional plastics. We are the only sustainable bio-based and biodegradable material in the market which has global references like Chanel packaging or Shiseido packaging. And so that actually Shiseido and Chanel are advertising our material. We believe that through these joint launches, we are able to make a new sustainable standard replacing plastics. But why these Chanels and Shiseidos and other global brands are willing to use their name alongside Sulapac to make the joint press releases? The reason is that we are able to help these global brands to position them in the market, being the forerunners in innovation and sustainability. Out there is 455 eco-labels what the brands can utilize. Can you recognize any of those? What is shown in the picture? There is somebody nodding. So there is something, yeah, you might recognize. Many people really don't recognize any. So we have opportunity to do things differently. Through this ingredient branding, we can make Sulapac brand as famous as Gore-Tex if we're successful. So in 10 years, when each of you go to the shops and you see Chanel, Shiseido, other global brands advertising Sulapac products, our aim is to make Sulapac brand so that all consumers recognize it as a guarantee of sustainability and quality. And here are a few highlights from this year, what we have brought to the market. This Chanel No. 1 line was the second launch with them. Why I wanted to highlight this is that it demonstrates that we are not only dependent on this wood waste material. We can use customers' own waste streams. In here, we used camellia seed shells, which was the leftover when Chanel utilized these camellia seed oils to make the formulations. Camellia was the favorite flower of Coco Chanel. That's why it was so relevant. It took 4 years for us to bring the products to the market together with Chanel, but with Shiseido, only 1 year from the first goal. So now we have already materials what we have commercialized, and we are able to shorten the time that we are able to bring the products to the market with the global brands. And existing materials, no tailor-made materials may be needed. Then in just a few months ago, we introduced this totally new application area, pencil material, together with Swans Cosmetics, further making our cosmetic packaging portfolio stronger and serving even more customers. Then as a last highlight, we have these Marimekko cups, beautiful cups, made of our latest innovation material, Sulapac Solid. Very durable material, which is actually dishwasher-proof and microwave safe. But if this mug accidentally ends up in the nature, in the ocean, it biodegrades there faster than a piece of wood the same size. So it's kind of a paradox what we have been able to solve, making durable materials, but if they end up in nature, they still biodegrade, leaving no permanent microplastics or toxic load behind. Our business model is to bring these materials to the market with global brands, sell and develop these materials. But in order to be successful in our vision and in our mission, we need to do more. We need to drive systemic change. Systemic change in transition to bio-circular economy. What does it mean? Beautiful words. In this case, it means that we really need to cut down the fossil dependencies and also really solve the challenges with microplastics and protect, from that perspective, biodiversity. The only materials that can solve both the climate change and the microplastic challenge are bio-based and biodegradable materials. We need to develop efficient recycling infrastructure for these materials. But we believe that the circular economy is this cycle here. We need to make it work. So chemical recycling of materials. That is the key for circular economy to really work in actual real life. And Sulapac is bio-based and biodegradable. There is also many others. So Sulapac is needed, but also the other sustainable materials are needed in order to drive the systemic change. We need to do this together. We need to collaborate across the industries, work with suppliers, other startups, material manufacturers, waste collectors to efficiently build recycling system where we can collect, sort, and recycle these materials. One very fascinating new way to chemically recycle these bio-based and biodegradable materials is biocarbon chemical recycling or biochar chemical recycling. And how that actually really works and why it's so fascinating is that at the same time we are efficiently making new raw materials but binding CO2 from atmosphere. So if we look at these two circles here, first of all, this renewable carbon cycle. So when the wood and plants, when they grow, they bind CO2. And when wood biodegrades, molders, it releases the same amount of CO2 what it has been binding during its growth. So no new CO2 is accumulating to the atmosphere. That is called renewable carbon cycle. When we utilize biomass made from bio-based feedstock and we insert it into chemical recycling, here pyrolysis, meaning burning in low level of oxygen, we can convert the bio-based carbon into very stable format of carbon, which is called biochar. This biochar is very stable format, so it's able to bind the carbon thousands of years, never releasing back the carbon to the atmosphere. We, for instance, at Sulabag are the first ones in the world who is able to utilize this biocarbon as a filler, as a new raw material to make new materials. So what that means that we are able to keep the carbon effectively in recycling and not releasing back to the atmosphere. We have already demonstrated that we can make these products. So actually these products having the biocarbon are carbon negative because they bind from the renewable carbon cycle the carbon permanently and keep this eternally working. That is a collaboration what we are driving in Finland. We actually building a consortium, not only for Sulabag, but other bio-based and biodegradable materials, which are the key to solve the fossil dependencies and embrace biodiversity. And just to conclude, we need globally a strategy for green materials. And here just to illustrate that it's not enough that they are just bio-based. It's not enough that they are biodegradable. They need to be both. And what we have realized in when we have made this journey together with Sulabag and making this systemic change, is the fastest way to change the world is through profitable business. That's what we are building in Sulabag. But at the same time, it's possible to save the world from plastic waste and cut the dependencies of fossil raw materials. I hope you all can do something for their systemic change as well and have some new thoughts how to join this kind of a journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Suvi. This was a fantastic talk. And,
Thank you.
And the best way to save the world is through profitable business. I like that. I like that. And I think most importantly, I like how Sulabag is actually branding what they're doing. So they're using everything that we know about marketing, about actually starting a business, but with the mindset of actually being green, with the mindset of a scientist that understands biodegradability, that has a material science PhD. I think this is the beauty of entrepreneurship, is how you mix those ideas and make things happen. And for now, we have our exciting panel discussion. I cannot stop smiling, as you can see, because it's going to be very interactive. And we have Ville, and we have also Kaisa, and we have Evan with us here on stage. And we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, innovation services from the university to become businesses. And we're going to be talking about a CEO who actually has a very exciting story coming to Finland from Asia. To be specific, from Malaysia. So please help me welcome them to the stage.
Excited to be like part of this panel discussion and talking to brilliant people. But the question lies, where do we start from? I mean, which side? Does anyone have a coin to flip? Heads, right, tails, left?
Coin, anybody?
Well, we'll start it from my side.
No cash. In Finland, we only use cards.
I'm going to take the freedom to start it from the right.
All right, go.
All right, so, but without further ado, I'm not going to talk maybe more, so I would want to ask each and every one of the panelists to introduce yourself and tell your story, so we're here.
Okay, I guess I'm the first then.
Yes, you are.
My name is Yvonne Blomstedt. I'm originally from Malaysia, but I've been living in Finland for the past 18 years. I came here when I was 19, running away from home. Being a girl in a developing country, meaning that education is not for free and boys come first, and I actually didn't speak English at the time, and I thought Europe was one country. When I bought the cheapest ticket to Europe, I landed in Vienna. I had a very thick dictionary, if those of you young people have seen it, to translate my mother tongue Chinese to English so that I could navigate. And one thing linked to another, I ended up in Finland. And I have been an entrepreneur now for 10 years. So I have the greatest gratitude for Finnish free education, where allowed me to be the first in my 33 cousins to hold a degree. And I graduated with hospitality management, majoring in entrepreneurship with a business plan called huone, which means room in Finnish. At that time, I have to admit, and this was now 11 years ago when I graduated, with this phase and not speaking Finnish perfectly, at that time, it was really difficult to get a job. I sent many, tens of applications just to ask for a job, and I didn't even get one interview. And so desperate as I were, out of survival mode, I decided that instead of beg for a job, I would create my own. My only problem at that time was that starting this company that I just wrote in my business plan is not as easy as writing the business plan because it required 800,000 euro. That was quite a challenge, but being a stubborn, fearless entrepreneur as I am, out of desperation and on a survival mode, I decided to sell my apartment, move to rental. I maxed out 5 credit cards, I think, and took on loans that I'm not too proud of at this time, and went all in. 10 years later, this year we celebrate our 10 years anniversary, and huone is in 3 different countries. We are in Helsinki, Singapore, and Denmark, and in Copenhagen. Currently, we employ 60 people and growing still, as long as the pandemic no longer comes back and the macro environment do not deteriorate further than this. So I feel very good about this. So our business is in creative meeting rooms. We want to put a stop to boring meeting room. I don't believe that if you take your team out for offsite meeting to do your new workshop or strategy day or anything like that, you should do it in a boring meeting room where there's one table in the middle, office chair around it, and then if you're lucky, there will be 2 paintings on the wall.
I love that.
So
I love that.
in Singapore to all the way to Denmark, we have meeting rooms that feature 3 houses. Imagine Google Office, but in a meeting room style, and then you buy it as a service when you need it. So that's our business concept.
Amazing, Yvonne. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing this inspiring story. And
thank you.
All the way from past to the future, I think your plan is being fearless. Let's move on to Ville. Ville, floor is all yours. What's your story?
Thank you. Yes, and I guess my story is definitely not that interesting as Yvonne.
No, I'm sure everyone is.
So, but I'm born and raised here in Finland. And if I think about myself, so I've been always this entrepreneurial soul. So even during my high school times, I was doing my first websites, you know, regarding sports and sports betting and those kind of things. So those were kind of like the first businesses that I had. Then I went to study in the School of Economics. So nowadays the Aalto University. And what I noticed there that it was clearly leading me to the kind of more traditional corporate track, you know, consulting or banking and so forth. And I was going with that track for a couple of years, and then I realized that, like, no, this is not what I want to do. So I started to explore, what options are there. And I was very lucky to bump into this group called Aalto Entrepreneurship Society, which was a very small group of people at that time. And that was the first time I heard the word startups. The year was 2008. And actually that was the time when Nokia was already declining. So the business environment was changing a lot. obviously financial crisis as well. So that gave a huge opportunity to start building something new. So I got hugely excited to join that group, and then basically we just started to organize events and bring people together, and then we got this one space in Otaniemi, this really old garage space that was being used to storing hand disinfection liquid at that time. So we took that over, and like, yeah, that was just amazing to be part of that journey. So in there, and then later on, I was co-founding some of the first startup accelerators based here, called the Summer of Startups, that later on turned into Kiwa's accelerator program. Another one called Startup Sauna, that was attracting more international companies from the Nordics, from Baltics, and other countries as well. And from there, I went to do my own startup in the health tech space. So spent 4 years doing that. And from there, I jumped into working for larger organizations. So I was for building the innovation activities, the startup activities, digital transformation for 2 large corporations. So, but then after that, I felt that now it's time to come back to the side where you can actually make things happen and you're not get stuck with the red tape. So I was lucky to get the opportunity to join Maria 01 in 2019, so 3 years ago. And for those of you who don't know Maria 01, so we're the leading startup campus in the Nordics, based here in Helsinki, Kamppi. So we serve as a community and a campus for over 180 startup companies, early stage startup companies, but also investors, partners, and different ecosystem organizations.
Thank you very much. Another fearless example, and very versatile experiences, like completely different from each other, like all the way from like doing something and then realizing that it's not yours, and then moving on to entrepreneurship, and then now you're part of a community, and like you're helping others reach their dreams or fulfill their dreams. Kaisa?
Okay, thanks, and hi, nice meeting you all, and nice to be in such great company. My background is definitely different to yours. Originally, I have a master's in nutrition, and quite soon I continued to do a PhD in biomedicine. But already when, I would say almost when starting that journey, or at least at the end of that PhD journey, I realized that what I'd like to do is apply the science, that I'm not maybe passionate enough about being a scientist myself. So after that, I worked in industry, mainly in food, a bit in pharma, medical devices for almost 20 years. And then in 2020, I joined Helsinki Innovation Services. I don't know if it rings any bells at your end. Helsinki Innovation Services, or HIS, we're essentially the tech transfer office at the University of Helsinki. So my passion and where I see the sort of great position in being part of a tech transfer office is really at being at the intersection of research and commercialization. And in a nutshell, what we do is that we try to help researchers, maybe researchers like Suvi and others, to get their research ideas and inventions to be commercialized and help the society and mankind.
That is beautiful.
It is.
And of course, this resonates very deeply with us because we're like, the researchers inside of us are also there. But don't feel bad, because we felt the same way. We said, maybe there's more to research than just the knowledge. Maybe there's the application side.
Both parts are needed.
Both parts are needed. I agree. And actually, now that you mentioned about Helsinki Innovation Services, and maybe allow me to take the liberty to start here, and then we can trickle back. But like, if I'm now an international, and I'm hearing about Helsinki Innovation Services, what would you say, like, as a person who's already might be also academically prone, is like, okay, what are the challenges that I might face when I actually am commercializing my research?
Yes, That's an excellent question. And maybe if I now, and especially as I have the research and academic hat, I'm not maybe thinking of all kinds of business ideas, but specifically then research-born, typically deep tech ideas. What would be the challenges? What would be the challenges maybe especially in Finland, if that's what you're thinking about? Yes. In my opinion, there are a couple of things that might be part of the main challenges. One thing, in my opinion, is that we don't actually have a very long culture and tradition of commercializing research in Finland. We have been a bit in our own silos, industry here, academia here, and really don't interact that much. So it's a bit of a culture and mindset thing. Also, especially when it comes to research-born inventions and ideas, it's a very long path, typically, that it's also, the ideas are very immature when they are born, takes lots of work and also good luck to eventually.
And also good luck. Actually, I like what you're saying, Kaisa, because this is the beauty of Finland. You have honesty. Like, all right, this is what we have, and this is what we don't have. And I love that about Finland. Let me ask you, what is our strengths then?
Well, definitely, I would say that our strength is the top-notch research. Everything we do at HIS stems from, let's say, tens of years of basic research. And then suddenly there's the pearl, aha, this could be commercialized, this is a great idea. So that's the strength. And then I think also what Ville does, Ville and other colleagues, all the hubs, mentorships, advice, ecosystems.
I have to completely
That's
agree.
That's also a strength, in my opinion.
I have to agree. Like having a research background also. Personally, I was like the most stupid researcher in the group, but everyone else was super, super amazing. And I would love to continue on the strengths, maybe move to what's special about Finland. And we would ask the question from Ville. You've been in like the startup ecosystem, and we've been talking about the startup ecosystem, and the theme is about startups and entrepreneurship in this event. And you're now at Maria 01. So what would you say is the thing that makes this Finnish startup ecosystem unique, in your opinion?
Well, I think, today and tomorrow is definitely the best opportunity to explore that. So I would say first the kind of grassroots-driven mentality. And that's what SLUSH is all about. Like that event that's running over there, it's run by mostly 1,000 volunteers, students. You don't have that anywhere else in the world. And thinking about then those people who will join that group, what they get learnings. And then they decide, is this for me or something else? But as we've seen already, like many of those volunteers become maybe the next CEO for SLUSH, and then later on we see that they're building these huge companies such as like Volt and others as well. So the grassroots, and I think the grassroots it's not only SLUSH, it's all the ecosystem organizations that have the same kind of mentality. The second I would maybe mention is the close-knit community. That's kind of related to that one. But then we need to, like, for example, think about investors. I don't think there's many other places where it's so easy to get the opportunity to meet different investors. As for example, we have in our campus, we have 8 or 9 VC firms having their headquarters over there. So for a startup, they might just go upstairs and go like, is it possible for me to pitch my idea? It's very rare to happen anywhere in the world. And also the willingness from the investors' side to like help, even though they might not be investing, but they're giving you advices and they really want to help you. So I think we're on a common mission. The third one maybe would be then this, what's referred as SISU, the Finnish word. So having this determinism or endurance, that even we can go through the thickest stone. I think that's still something we have. Maybe sometime as a nation we might have been forgetting that, but as I feel, for example, think about now current crisis, like pandemic first, and now with the current situation. At least I feel there's a lot more of this, sisu mentality coming up. So at least those things I would mention are very unique.
Thank you very much for sharing. It seems like they're all rooted deep in actually the Finnish culture and Finnish values. The humbleness, the sisu, the hard work, the fact that you can have opportunity, everyone's like treated equally. Thank you very much. That was a nice link between the startup ecosystem and like the Finnish roots and culture that I never thought about before, actually. But I would want to move on now to Yvonne. You have like a perfect, story about how you made it. Like, you were like an entrepreneur who started, like Drake says, I listen to rap a lot. Started from the bottom, now we're here. And it's an exemplary story and it's very inspiring. And what I would want to ask you is, what do you think, according to your experience, is the most important quality that an entrepreneur must have for success?
Purpose.
Purpose.
Yeah. I have to say that there are today and tomorrow a lot of wannabe entrepreneur. With no disrespect, I said that sentence because a lot of people don't know how much it takes to be an entrepreneur. And if you don't have a very strong sense of purpose, why am I doing this? You will not last half a year. That's it. And please do not think that being an entrepreneur equals that's my gateway to being a millionaire, because that's not the case. I have been an entrepreneur for 10 years and I'm not yet a millionaire, so.
Soon.
But again, that is not the measure of success. I think that is also another thing that all entrepreneurs must remember. I actually pride myself with the success that we have made through the company culture that we have built and through the customer experience that we have been made impact to and things like that. Those things drive me, and that is my purpose. Money is just a result of those. So I think we must remember why did you start this, and how does that will remind you get out of that hole that you are in, which we are in plenty of as an entrepreneur, with more strength to fight forward. And I think that's very important.
That's very powerful, very powerful. Thank you. Thank you for highlighting such an important element in, I think, everyone's life, the why, the purpose.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree. As a matter of fact, I would like to conclude the day with two things. I want each and every one of you to tell me what would be a piece of advice you would say to your 19-year-old self, knowing what you know today. And while you think of this, I also want to open the floor for our audience. If you have any questions from our panelists, we have microphones around that you can just raise your hand and you'll get it.
We have already the first one, so.
All right.
All right, Kaisa, you want to start?
Do you think you are ready to answer?
Mm-mm.
Or we can keep it after the...
I can start.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
sure.
It would be as simple as, founding my own company like as early as possible. Because I think, at that time I was saying, when we were kind of building the roots for the startup movement in here, this kind of like, a lot of the message from the experienced entrepreneurs was that now it's the best time for you to start your company. And you only really realized afterwards. So actually, when being a student, that is the very best time to start your company. So yeah, I should have done that when I was 19, and then see how it goes, and then get the learnings out of that. But that's definitely something I want to encourage, that the earlier you can do it, the better.
Very well said. The earlier you can do it, the better. So it's either you win or you learn. Well said. Thank you. And we will take the question and then we will conclude with our panels. So the question comes from...
Is it open? Can
Yes.
You hear me? Okay. My name is İzzet Fatih Şedinkaya. I'm from Start Munich, and I'm originally from Turkey. And my question is to Ellen, and I'm pronouncing your names correctly, and that you said that you came Finland as a 19 years old. I also came to Germany 19 years old, and I also want to create my own startup, everything. But you said that when you needed money, you sell your house to raise the money. Is it a thing in Finland that students who came to Finland, that they have everyone as a home, that they can raise the money from their home, or is there an opportunity that Finland is offering for the international students, or that was only in your case? Because in Germany, we don't have this option, for example, that even if I want to need the money, I don't have any home, I'm just like living in the dormitory. That's why I wanted to say, is it like an opportunity for the all international students who come to live in Finland?
I don't want to mislead the audience here. Actually, I have, at that time when I came here as an immigrant, because I didn't speak English, so I actually work around. I was cleaning homes, I was waitering in Chinese restaurant to make a living. And I eventually actually was working out of Embassy of Malaysia when I was brushing up my English there. Once my English became a level that was accepted, then I got accepted to the schools where I studied. So there was a good bit of 3-4 years in between where I was really working hard to get money as an immigrant at that time, and I was not yet a student. So at that time, I also stay in Finland for love, which I didn't mention. So I had a Finnish husband, so the both of us bought an apartment together. Having said that is how I funded my very expensive startup at that time. I do not recommend that to anyone. It is a very blue, I don't know why we call it a blue eye.
Naive.
A naive way of doing this. But again, like Villa said, when you are young, when I know it sounds like, why do you say this to me, that there's nothing much to lose. But it is really true. And I look at myself right now, I'm in my 30s. I have right now a lot to lose. I have a kid, I have a husband, I have the house mortgage, I have the car mortgage. And if you ask me now, if I'm doing a stable job with all this on my back, will I throw myself and sell my house and do that right now? I'm not sure if I would make the same choice, honestly. And so I completely agree with Ville. When you are young, come on, give it a try, no matter what it takes. But coming back to your question, no, you don't own a home as a student when you come here. They do have very, very good housing program for students, but they also allow students to work while studying, and which is a great way to also get working experience and also to get network and things like that. And I completely agree with what they have said, that Finland has provided a very good playground for a startup entrepreneur, and it is remaining and continuously being that. And I really encourage if anyone who wants to start a company to actually use Helsinki as a base.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to know it.
That was valuable. Thank you for asking the question. Thank you. This is really interesting. I was thinking, okay, if I don't have a house, I have 2 kidneys. How much are they? Oh, wow. So, Kaisa, what would you say to the 19-year-old Kaisa?
Yeah, that was definitely a difficult one. And this is maybe not that much sort of entrepreneurial related, but I would say that follow your own path and good things will happen. That whatever is your own career path, you just trust it and don't listen so much to others, but do walk your own path and enjoy it.
That is well said. Thank you. And Yvonne?
I'm a very sentimental person. I actually, if I would have choose, I would say nothing. Because I actually don't regret anything what I did when I was 19. If I would have said anything at that time, I would not have arrived where I am today. And I was scared as hell as a 19-year-old, alone, not having money in my pocket, and then standing in that Vienna airport wondering what is my next. But follow your heart normally go a long way, and I think I did just that. And I'm pretty happy with everything that has happened until this point, despite that it has not been the easiest years for me the past few years, with the meeting bans and our business not being able to open and things like that. But you only live one life, make it count.
Follow your heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. We really want to continue this discussion and all the stories. And oh, we have another question? Oh, yes. And two.
Oh.
Go ahead, guys.
So yeah, I have a question. I actually wanted to ask about, I think at the start of the session, someone mentioned about the startups permit. So I am an international student currently living in Germany. So I came here to visit SLUSH, attend SLUSH. And I'm just curious to understand, as an international student from India studying in Germany, if I want to have my startup in Finland, how would that work out?
Ooh, that's a great question. And I don't know if we have enough time to answer this.
But there are experts from the Finnish immigration.
We actually have the whole team today with us. So if you can stick around in the networking event, yes, they're right here. They're right actually next to you. And for our friends online, we actually have the team as well online on the virtual booths. So this was a fantastic question. Thank you. Thank you for asking it. And I think this allows Khalil to conclude.
Can I? All right.
I think so.
We're going to hear another story, guys. Today is just the day of stories, stories, stories. And this time we're going to be hearing Toggle and the story of how did he become an entrepreneur here in Finland. And thank you all. With that being said, I would love to thank you and for your time, and you all too, guys, for being here with us. It's not going to be over. We're going to continue. We'll be back in a while.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Tolga Karayel from Turkey. And my story ending up in Finland is almost like 10 years ago. It was like an exchange program. And I just had a background in international relations at Ege University. And then it was always in my mind to experience this life and see the calmness of this Finnish society. After some years that I have worked in local authority in Turkey, you just realize that your life is mundane and just everything is like, you just see yourself in a loop. And then you are feeling the moment of fear, actually. So what should I do? Should I stay in my comfort zone and just carry on my life, get married, have kids, and just buy a car and get like a house or whatever you want? Or should I leave my comfort zone and just see what the life is waiting for me out there? And then I took a radical decision. I resigned my job and just checked my former university at University of Turkey, and I see the future studies, which is actually a unique study program in like tens or 15 of different countries has it. And then I have applied and I got a full tuition scholarship and also the accommodation, which is the priorities for the international students actually. But the most important thing about my department is about giving a chance to experience the startup ecosystem in Finland actually. So we have special minor studies, and then you can add some entrepreneurship programs such as Boost Turku. The first thing is that I have struggling with to find the answer about trust, because it's the case of every entrepreneur just facing during the sharing their ideas. What will happen? Will they support you? Will they just steal it? And the thing is that one lecturer just said to me, they can steal your idea, but they cannot copy the value you propose or the vision you have. So just share it. Just let it go. And then it was the end of April. Just I have applied Boost Turku Startup Marathon. It was a 2-day program that I have attended, and I shared my idea, and the miracle has happened. I met my beloved co-founders, and we see that the preload coffee just arose in effectual thinking, actually. Before that, I was just expecting the meanings and tried to find a solution based on this. But in that program, I have seen that the Finnish startup ecosystem just giving you a place to just jump, you know? Just go there and share your idea, and there is always someone just coming up that, hey, I like your idea. What should we do? What can I help you, you know? And by the way, the idea is that the abundance in Finland, the annual coffee consumption in Finland is 55 million kg. So there is abundance there, but we have tried to find what can we do with that. First, we think fertilizers. It was like a casual thinking. Okay, we will do fertilizers and try to find the meanings. But after that, we see the Finnish startup ecosystem put us in effectual thinking and just said that, don't fall in love with your idea. Just let it go. And then we have applied Boost Turku, again, startup journey. It was 9 weeks. And it was the moment that I was barely sleeping, like 5 to 6 hours in a day. It's like 3 hours and 3 hours. It was hell of a journey, but on the other hand, we have realized that ecosystem just give us full of opportunities. What do I mean by that? We get lots of mentorship, how we can pitch, how we can, the ideation process can be developed with other entrepreneurs, with other mentors, and it was full of joy, you know? You just feel that the trust of the Finnish startup ecosystem giving you that chance. And then you're just going, making a network, and that network brings you another network, and that network brings you another network. And now, as Preload Coffee, we are looking for solutions. For example, bio 3D printing materials, and also making coffee logs, and also making ceramics, and also making 100% biodegradable some materials. It's all thanks to this ecosystem. But meanwhile, we got lots of support and mentorship from Turku Business Region, for example. They just do their best, and it was the thing that we weren't thinking about the cellulose, for example. It was the 40% of the coffee grounds has cellulose, is the similar with Sulapak. So when you share your idea, I wasn't imagining that I will just, ending up with that. And it's all thanks to my co-founders. And it is the thing that what I have seen in Finnish startup ecosystem as a student, the trust and the effectual thinking. It's always like the fluctuating journey. You're just finding different things, and that things bring you another thing. And you're just realizing that I haven't thinking about, and it wasn't the thing that stealing your idea. On the opposite, they are just trying to give you the support, because it is going to be the made in Finland. This is the heuristic or the holistic approach of Finnish startup ecosystem. They are not looking your background or, like a religion or your a citizenship. It's so inclusiveness. They're just looking your idea. And it is the thing that just as being a human being, an entrepreneur, you're just seeing the joy of this ecosystem, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really good. And it is the thing that, about your question, there are lots of funding opportunities in Finland, especially for the brilliant ideas. And the Business Finland is making this, and also the Boost Turku, and this network. And also, for example, the Shift Festival was hosted in Turku. These are the opportunities for like you to see. I'm 33 years old now. And if I back to the question to 20 years of me, I would just say, take an action. Don't wait. as the Tom Hardy has just said, passion, action, noble intention. This creates progress. And just be obsessed your idea, but don't fall in love. Just share it and see how it goes. If you have any questions, I can answer it. It is a general story of me. I hope I can encourage some of you there. I can see some bright eyes. Just go for it, man. In Finland. Thank you.
I'm pre-loving my coffee already.
Yeah.
That's the name of a startup. But actually, I love how you said it. It's about passion, action?
Noble intention.
Noble intention. That's beautiful. Tolga, thank you very much for this.
Thank you for hosting me.
This has been a great, great talk. And I think this is actually bringing us to a very exciting part of the day. And before we leave you, we want to leave you with a short video from SLUSH. Wow, what a video. It was very trancing, right? It was taking us through SLUSH as an event. Tens and thousands of people are just there. They're enjoying and they're celebrating entrepreneurship. And I think this was a common thing for us here today, is that fearlessness doesn't need to be something that you're always trembling. No, you can actually take action and you can be enjoying it too. Mm-hmm. I think this is something that's very beautiful. And this was the third episode of The Future is Made in Finland. And the future, actually, we have one more episode. We'll be talking about deep tech. We're talking about all the quantum stuff that we love. The future, literally. And we're going to be igniting your curiosity in our next episode. And I think I promised him something.
Thank you very much for remembering it. Thank you very much for remembering. I was almost about to give up, like with a heart broken. But we were talking about science pictures. Right. That was the exciting moment, and that was your promise. Mm. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we are going to launch a community of scientists and entrepreneurs and society and get them all together on a platform and also hopefully start making magic happen. So that's our next plan. That's our new project. And the day is not just gonna over. Let's talk. Let's continue the discussion. Everybody online, remember the virtual booths. And the weather forecast of today was networking. Yes. So it's time to network. It's time to get to know each other, guys.
I agree. And this was just some stories. And we believe the next story will be you in Finland creating your own future. So see you guys very soon.